Mr. Epperson. Here. Mr. Escudero. Here. Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Lynn. Present. Lynch.
Here.
Ms. McCullough.
Here.
Mr. Pearson. Present. Mr. Smith. Here. Mr. Thibodeau. Here. Four, Mr. President.
Here. Thank you very much. Ask Mr. Thibodeau to lead us in prayer. And Mr. Lynn in the pledge. Well, we ask you to want to remember the young people who drowned the other day in the river, and ask you to hold their families in your hand and to help that terrible burden that they're carrying, help it to slowly go away. We also ask you to give us the wisdom to make the right type of decisions for the citizens of Caddo Parish. And we ask all these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. Say along with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I've got some cards. If anyone here would like to address the commission who hasn't filled out a card on any matters that's not subject to public hearing, please do so. Get them to the clerk. Mr. Wilson, please. Do we have any agenda additions? Okay, being none, need a motion to adopt the minutes. Pardon me?
Did you give him the...
I did. I gave him that one that you just gave me.
Right.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. To speak, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah. Need a motion to adopt the minutes of July 8th. So it's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion on that? So we don't have anybody at the voting machine. Without exception, those minutes are approved. Special resolution, non-communication reports. Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. We just have a couple of things today, Commissioners, and good afternoon. We'd like to present to you formally the audit report, so I'd like to have Erica say a couple of things about that.
Commissioners, you should have before you both the audit report as well as the single audit report, which covers our federal grant. If you would notice that the audit report this year is a CAFR, a Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The parish has not issued a CAFR in 16 years. This is the first time in 16 years, and that has been because we have not been successful in including every component unit that we have in our audit report, and we could not issue a CAFR without those component units. But for 2009, we were able to include each component unit in the report, and therefore we issued a CAFR. We have an unqualified opinion on our audit report. There are only two issues that were noted during the audit or in the report. One was a reporting issue with one of the stimulus grants for CPCRS20100805. It's just a timely reporting that has been resolved. The other issue was not adopting the 2009 budget by the legally required deadline. Since we didn't adopt by that, the legally required deadline, the auditors have to include that as a finding in the audit report. If you have any questions, we can answer them. If you need our auditors to come before you, we can also arrange that.
Any questions for Ms. Bryant? Okay, Mr. Russell, please continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Keith, we'd like to give you an update as a result of us meeting with the City of Shreveport officials a couple of days ago. Thank you all for permission to attend that meeting. We just want to kind of give you an update on the roof and the HVAC replacement process now that it's in our control. So, Mr. Keith, would you give us an update where we are?
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, Keith.
My staff and I met with Podel and Associates, an engineering firm, and an architect, LeBlanc and Young, on Wednesday, August 4th. The engineer surveyed this building and is working on the design of the project on the HVAC. The goal is to have the prints in 3 weeks, review them, be preliminary prints, and review them, and then advertise for bid. It'll take 3 weeks. Award contracts mid to late October. The project is estimated to take 4 months, and the project estimated completion will be March of 2011 for the roofing and the HVAC.
Any questions for Mr. McClung?
Do you have any idea, is there going to be some thought about having some ventilation in the building? Because when the AC is gone, whether it's not certainly not hot, but it's not, it may not be too cold either, but there certainly has to be some ventilation.
There will be, because half of the chillers are working now, and this work, the air-conditioned work should be done like in February, so it'll be cold, but we will have some ventilation in the building, and there'll be half at one time, and then finish the other half. So there's a way to phase this, where you don't go without air, some kind of air flowing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Just want to reiterate, Commissioners, thank you so much for your support that you've given us in this matter to expedite things. And also, the environmental inspection will occur next Tuesday on the air quality. So we'll have both issues covered. But thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. And that concludes my report for the day.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. McCullough.
Yes, I have something I wanted to present.
Okay,
I wanted to hear from MPC.
Does anybody have any questions from the administration's report, and then we'll go to communication? Nobody has any questions? I just want to tag on to Mr. Wilson and report on the roof. Due to our efforts Monday, Commissioner Cox and I and the administration met with the mayor, CAO, fire department, city leaders, Ms. Commissioner Lynch, and for whatever reason, we've resolved our differences, and it's agreed that the parish will take the initiative and the lead, which we already have, in getting the roof work done that has been previously approved and appropriated by both bodies. We'll have it done, the ball's in our court, and we should have no more problems, and the city has assured us that they'll work more closely with us in the future to make sure that we don't reach these sorts of impasses. I appreciate everyone's efforts very much. And therefore, at the appropriate time when the resolution that we had asked to have prepared Monday comes, I don't feel it's needed, and I'll ask you to support me in withdrawing it. Thank you. Commissioner McCullough.
Yes, Jimmy Whittington, is he here?
Whittington?
For clarification and for the record, all of you should have a letter from the City Council, Calvin Lester, the councilman, in regards to Resolution number 130. Jimmy, you want to clarify this for the record? Everybody should have a copy of this. Would you explain, Jimmy, what this is all about for the record?
Yes, ma'am. That was a piece of adjudicated property that the parish took an application on, not through the dollar program. Of course, we don't participate in that. We took a regular application on this piece of property from a Miss Norma Smith, and we were processing her application. She was going to buy it based on the appraised value. She paid to have an appraisal done and everything. Subsequent to that time, I don't know at what time, but it was after the time that Miss Smith came to approach us, another lady went to the city to acquire the property under the dollar program as the adjoining property owner, by virtue of having maintained it. Well, typically what happens is that the city, basically, our agreement with the city is we process whichever application comes in the door first. In this case, it was Miss Smith's, through the parish. Typically, the city notifies us and says, you have an existing application on this property, at which time we would have said yes, and the matter would have been concluded. But they didn't do that in this case, so we continued to process Miss Smith's application, and subsequently the city was processing the dollar application from the other neighbor, but they're both neighbors on each side of this particular piece of property. And we processed ours as normal. We served the property. We sent the deed down to the city to be signed. Mayor Glover signed the deed. It was recorded in the courthouse and everything else. Sometime after that, the city got through with their process and evidently called, I believe, Miss Green in and said, we're ready to sell you the property. And when they sent the deed upstairs for Mr. Wilson to sign, we informed them that property has already been sold. We had a prior application which we were processing, and there was nothing we can do about it. And the city, it's my understanding that they recognized their error. They apologized for the inconvenience and the grief that was caused. But by that time it was a done deal. I mean, they didn't check with us.
So I am to assume that Councilman Lester actually sent this information just for our record purposes?
I do not know. I haven't been privy to that information. I've been in many discussions with the city about this, and everybody's on the same page as to what happened.
It was understood that you all actually processed the application with the parish, and that the city did not contact the parish at any time during the processing of this application.
Yes, ma'am. It was just a mistake.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Ms. H.
Okay, just several things really quickly. As you all know, we just a couple of weeks ago got back from the NACO conference, which is the National Association of Counties, of which Caddo Parish is a member. We're moving forward with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. NACO is continuing to provide resources and technical assistance to us in that effort, the latest being a study, and I'm going to make sure that the members of the committee get a copy of that, so we're continuing to bring resources back to help us with that effort. Secondly, we accepted an achievement award on behalf of the Animal Services and Mosquito Control Department. Here's a picture of us accepting the award, if y'all can get that on the camera. Good-looking group of folks. Camera. Okay.
There it is. Hold it up again.
Our application, I think there were 3,000 counties that submitted for achievement awards, and I think it's pretty significant that Caddo Parish was one of the ones that was chosen. There are 53 parishes in the state that are NACO member counties, and in this last conference, Caddo Parish had the highest number of presidential appointees in the state. Commissioner Baker, and we went over some of this Monday, but I want to make sure we get appropriate recognition, other than being just hard-working gals, but to show that there's leadership on this body, not only here, but on the national level. Commissioner Baker is a subcommittee vice chair for housing on the Community and Economic Development Committee. She was also elected secretary of the Women of NACO Women's Leadership Network. Commissioner Pearson, who's the state president of the Louisiana Police Jury Association, will be serving on the NACO Board of Directors, and that Board of Directors oversees everything dealing with this organization, and they represent over 3,000 counties in the United States, so it's pretty significant that he will be serving on the Board of Directors for the next 2 years. Myself, I'm still vice chair of the Juvenile Committee under Justice and Public Safety. This will be my second year serving as a subcommittee vice chair. I was also elected as second vice president of the National Association of Black County Officials and chair of the NACO Programs and Services Committee. Now, this particular committee oversees all of the programs and services that NACO provides, from purchasing to the prescription discount drug card, all of their award programs, all of the training and technical assistance that they provide to counties, as well as grant assistance, our deferred compensation plan, like I said, all of the programs and services. And so I just wanted to go back over that. The presidential initiative for this year is County Government Works, is President Whitley's awareness campaign to bring an understanding of what counties and parishes in Louisiana actually do, because a lot of times people get confused between what the city does as opposed to what the parish does. But I think we saw a recent example of the tragedy that happened on this week. It gave us a look at just what not only city resources and personnel do, but also what parish resources and personnel do with our tax dollars. The Sheriff's Department was an integral part of that operation, as well as the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office. And so as we move forward with the awareness campaign this year, and I handed out talking points from President Whitley, and he's encouraging state associations as well as parishes to take part in the awareness campaign by speaking to schools and to nonprofits, to neighborhood associations, to actually let them know all of the good and positive work that we do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Any other communiques? Commissioner Epperson?
Just an observation, Mr. President. Several people that watch us basically religiously when we have commission meetings have stated that when we enter into dialogue among each other, it picks up over the speaker system and it comes out. And they stated that some of the things that they've heard had not been nice about maybe some of our colleagues. So I would ask that we respect each other. If we need to talk among ourselves, let's pass notes or leave the room and go outside, because everything's been picked up by the public, and they told me to bring that to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Epperson. Very good. All right, at this time we'll have citizens' comments. First I would like to, pardon me?
I'm going to make the picture on the paper.
Oh, okay, do me a favor, if you want to speak, use those little buttons, and I know you. All right, there you go.
Most of you know about the Monday night problem with the SWEPCO power here. We just barely got started with the Peugeot noise ordinance discussion, and we lost power and had to disband our Bossier Caddo meeting on the noise ordinance. I want to assure the Commission and the public that we will rearrange this noise ordinance where you can see it again, and we will let the public as well as the Commission know this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. This time I would like to recognize Senator Lydia Jackson. Please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm glad to be here, but I am not Senator Lydia Jackson. I am Banker Lydia Jackson. I'm here to speak on an agenda item, so I'll come back at that appropriate time.
As an agenda item for public hearing?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Next we have Miss Jackie Hollins. Give your name and address for the record, and please, as best you can in 3 minutes, let us know what you're here for, please.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Jacqueline Hollins, and I preside at 2608 Leaf Lane in Shreveport, Louisiana. And Commissioner Sam Jenkins represent District 5 where I preside at. And first of all, what I came today was to say thank you to every commissioner that is seated here today for the support and the funding of our Kids Adventure Camp. We had a very successful program this summer, and we were able in the Queensboro area to at least keep 35 kids out of trouble and off the street this summer. And I just want to tell you all thank you. We taught them a good life skill experience such as sewing, cooking, martial art, things that children don't do these days. These things were taught in our camp. They also got a chance to do CPR and receive their first aid card. So that was very, very touching. And we also, most of all, taught them about to respect each other and to respect others. So I just want to tell you all, thank you very much. I hope it be bigger and better for next year, that we can hold more children. And I think that because I got all of my information in on time, I hope we be considered Temple Enrichment Center Kids Adventure Camp for next year, 2011, and I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Deanna Lewis?
That would be me, and Beth Foster speaking for this group.
Okay, please come forward.
I thank you for the opportunity to address you.
Get your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, I'm Beth Foster, 6916 Oak Hill Circle, Shreveport, Louisiana. You know me for many different things, but I appreciate all the work you've done. I thank you for your kind attention to the quality of life issues in this region, for your continued support for programs educating and equipping our community. It's most important to emphasize the diminishing aquatic programs, after-school programs, safe haven programs for all generations. Our youth and family education in swimming and water and boat safety, life-saving, lifeguarding is most important due to our weather conditions, recreation, flooding, drownings, and much more. And it's most important that we really look at what has happened to our citizenry. And there is a diminishing on aquatic programs and water aquatic programs. Today, we are planning from the past to the future. It's a family reunion, YWCA. This is about group and individual involvement, and it's America's strength. So I'm asking you to help us in the planning of this. We are planning, we have a banner, posters, bulletins, and mailing, and award certificates, and that which I have there in front of you. Do you all have one of these? Okay. And also, we have designed I only have one copy of it. You have that. What is it? I have only one copy of it. This? That's it. This is a copy of our design. It just came from the printer for Instaprint. We're going to be honoring iron-jawed angels. From the past to the future, it's a family reunion for the YWCA. And this is supported by different groups. We want to share memories of the stories of all the programs that were under the auspices of the YWCA. For years, every one of us can think about something wonderful that was there because of the YWCA. As I met Carl Pearson, a good friend, we met in aquatic programs at the Allendale facility and YWCA, and we became family. And the people in the aquatic programs and all these have become families, and families have built this community. And we have this special togetherness about the programs that were under the auspices of YWCA, and so of Northwest Louisiana. I hope I can get you one of these, but it's sharing memories and stories. It's going to be at Lake Life Development Center on Pier, which is the former YWCA Spa Center, and is now the Lake Bethlehem Church under that auspices, Reverend Everett Dennis, pastor. So as a leader, as a group, as from your church, official citizen, you are especially invited to be a part of this, because we believe that group and individual involvement is America's strength. At this time, I want to give you a recyclable, likable angel of hope. This represents...
Could you just give them to Mr. Wilson and have him pass it around, because we're running out of time, please?
Okay, that's fine. So that's all I want to do.
Very good. That's all right.
recycling. But Recyclable Likeables is about restoring, renewing, rebuilding relationships and renewing, and that's what it's about. And I have addressed the parish before on recycling and issues of that before when Carl was, I helped establish recycling. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. This time we'll go to public hearing on ordinances.
Yes, sir. We have ordinance 5001, amend your oil and gas fund budget to provide $200,000 for Axion, Texas. Business loan
Is there
program.
anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Ms. Jackson, Senator Jackson, Ms. Jackson, Banker Jackson, come forward. I've got cards on the other people, so. Come as a team if you'd like. It's okay. We know you're a rebel. With a cause.
I'm a rebel with a cause. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here today representing Capital One Bank as their CRA Business Development Officer. We stood before you a few months ago soliciting your business, and one of the questions that a lot of the questions during that request for proposals centered around our outreach activities and community activities. And one of the things we promised and touted was the introduction of Axion, Louisiana into our market. So we are really pleased today to stand here before you to say that Axion, Louisiana is now operating in Shreveport. They have located at the Southern University Business Incubator, and we plan to be their neighbor in a few weeks when Capital One also moves into that business incubator. We are proud supporters of Axion. My boss serves on their board of directors because we recognize that there is a special need for niche lending for those folks who need loans, who are capable of providing our communities with services and businesses and enterprise that will spur economic development and support our communities. That is why we are supporting Axion. That is why the bank has spent its resources, both time and money, in trying to recruit them into Louisiana. They are an outstanding organization. They are the nation's premier microenterprise lender, and we are proud that they have decided to set up shop in our state and in our city. I want to be clear to you that while we are great partners, and we love to send customers that we can't serve, and we have an organized referral system, the bank does not in any way receive any profit or any compensation from its relationship with Axion. We are trying to provide an additional service to our customers that we, for whatever reason, in these tough credit times, can't provide service to. We think they're a welcome alternative, and they are a business. They are a nonprofit business, but they are a business. And they share a similar philosophy to our bank of investment and return, and require that of their customers. So I hope today in your deliberations that you too will find that this is a beneficial entity to have in our city, and that you too will want to invest in this partnership. It's a rare entity that gets a good house seal of approval from all of the banking regulators. And in our effort to introduce Axion to Louisiana, not just in the Shreveport market, but in Alexandria and Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have been joined in our support by other financial institutions, Red River Bank, Whitney Bank in New Orleans, but all of the bank regulators, the FDIC, the OCC that regulates us, and the Federal Reserve, all find that this is a workable model for extending access to credit to citizens who have the capacity to perform and to promote economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Montgomery, Executive Director of the Calvin W. and Charles T. Beard Family Foundation, a.k.a. Beard Foundation for short. We are a nonprofit organization ourselves. We exist to provide grant funds for worthy organizations trying to improve life in our communities here in Northwest Louisiana. Among the needs that we have encountered in the past have been small business people or people who weren't yet small business people but who desperately wanted to be. They had an idea, they had the energy, and they had the passion to make a business work. What they lacked was capital, and as any of you in business know, without capital, you're sunk pretty quickly. They could take their ideas to commercial banks, as Banker Jackson said, but they missed one qualification somewhere along the line to be able to qualify for a commercial loan. Or the bank may have gone through a lockout on a particular sector of business and just were not making loans to those kinds of businesses at the time. Many of those came to the foundation seeking funds, but we can't give money to individuals or to for-profits. We have to give to nonprofit organizations. When along came Senator Jackson, I'll call her now because that's what got my attention last fall, but Senator Jackson, Banker Jackson, and Capital One to a meeting last October here, and it was like the gift had finally arrived. There was a mechanism where we could put foundation money in helping small business people get the loans they need but didn't quite qualify for in commercial banking, with the hope that they would succeed and within a couple of years they would qualify for commercial bank loans. And that was Axion, Texas, now Axion, Texas, Louisiana. The Beard Foundation has provided $150,000 in strictly operating money for them to come here and get set up and open shop. I'm not authorized to speak for some of the others, but the Community Foundation and the Grayson Foundation have also contributed to operating funds for Axion, Texas, Louisiana. We all did that because we did a thorough examination of them and the way they operate and their success rate. And I only wish that we had a couple of the small business people who have been helped by them in other parts of Louisiana. We met one at the opening of their office here, a young woman outside of Alexandria who had an idea for a cafe and catering business, but she couldn't get a loan to get started. Well, she got her loan, she got started, and she's going great guns right now, and she invites everybody to come down and stop at her restaurant there outside of Alexandria. But that's just one example. There are all kinds of people here who do have that kind of drive and who want to have a business succeed. And we all know small business is the foundation of the American economy. The more we have, the better off we are. And that is one of the reasons that we certainly at the Beard Foundation support Axion, Texas, Louisiana, and we encourage anyone else who is so inclined to help them in this mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Bell? Thank you, President. Commissioners, I would like to send my warmest regards to Commissioner Jenkins. From Marine, Commissioner Jenkins, you've done a grunt work job, a yeoman's job in what you've done in bringing this in front of the Commission. With those two great endorsements, what I would like to say is this. Within this community right now, we have only been in this community, that is, Axion, Louisiana, has been in this community approximately 30 days up and operational, maybe a little bit more. We have $400,000 of loans in the pipeline right now for this area within 30 days. I've also met with a few bankers in the Shreveport area, and what they tell me, and I have a banking background, a commercial background, and what they tell me is there are industries, just as Jim Montgomery said, there are industries being locked out right now of the banking community to be able to get loans. It's not that the 5 C's of credit are not there. It is that they are unable to because the bank is unwilling at this time because of the credit crisis being able to lend to those people. Their credit is fine, their credit is perfect, they have the cash flow, they have the capacity, they have the collateral, but they are unable to get a loan. And we're talking $100,000 and less. We're not talking about a great deal of money, we're talking $100,000 and less here, gentlemen. Again, it is with the need in this community as it is within the state. As a former banker, I can tell you that I have been through those issues when I was in banking with the credit crunches that went on during the 80s and early 90s, with companies being locked out of the access to capital and the underwriting guidelines being tightened.
So I urge the commission to consider this proposal, to consider Axion coming into this community, helping the small business people within this community to grow, to prosper, and to create jobs within this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor of this? Anyone here in opposition? All right, Mr. Spears.
Ordinance 5002 rescinds the sale of certain adjudicated property.
Anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone in opposition? Proceed, please.
That concludes the public hearing. We'll go right back through those same ordinances for final consideration. Ordinance 5001 provides appropriation for Axion, Inc.
Mr. President, I would like to move forward with ordinance number 5001 with an amendment to it. And I believe it's in the booklet that everyone has. The language that would be in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh whereas clause. The added language is upon terms and conditions set forth in a cooperative endeavor agreement to be executed between the parties. With that amendment, I would like to move forward with ordinance number 5001.
Second.
Mr. Jenkins has moved forward, proposed to move forward, ordinance 5001 is amended, seconded by Commissioner McCullough. Would you like to discuss your motion, Mr. Jenkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. At the time that this ordinance was introduced, there has been some changes. And that's what the amendment that I made will address, and that's what I want to talk about today. I would hope by now, with this having been out here several months, I know my colleagues have done whatever the degree of due diligence they need to do, and I hope that there will be no question in anyone's mind that Axion is among the best, if not the best, at what they do. They've been in micro-lender. You've been given good material and you've been given presentations on the company and its background and loans that it's made and the percentage of repayment rates, 95%. You've been given a lot of information on Axion. I'm certain that by now, whatever research that you needed to do or due diligence that you need to do on the company is something that has been done. Let's just talk about the reality of a few things. I always try to listen to the concerns of my colleagues on any legislation that I bring. I think you know that's my history. One of the things, or among the things I heard, were some concerns about the repayment of these loans, and I know there were some legitimate concerns about whether this was a risky venture or things of that nature. But what has been provided to you is the cooperative endeavor agreement that will govern the relationship between the parish and Axion. And this agreement is still something that can be a work in progress. There's still some issues with the agreement that can still be addressed. What's happening today is the ordinance is before us, and it's for the appropriation of the funds. Nothing is going to exchange hands until an agreement has been reached between the parish and Axion. So there's always room for more input from our side. But let's look at what the agreement provides right now as far as addressing some of the concerns that came up. Under the scope on page 1, we have in there that all of the funds that's going to be used for a loan will be repaid to the parish, and it will be repaid by a schedule every 90 days. And those loans are repaid. The funds that we are putting forth is going to be repaid to the parish. That was one of the concerns. And I was concerned about the loans themselves to the businesses, and I think that's been addressed a little bit today. Those loans are going to be collateralized. There will be some real estate or business equipment or something of that nature to collateralize the loans. But I think it's important for you to understand, as my colleagues, that the parish is not going to be in the business of trying to go out and collect the loans to the businesses. The relationship we're creating today is between the parish and Axion. Axion, according to this agreement, if you look a little further, is willing to guarantee the repayment of the loans. In other words, if for some unforeseen reason, a small business finds itself in a situation where it cannot repay the loan, Axion is going to guarantee the repayment of the loan. The relationship we're creating is between us, not necessarily the small business. I don't want anyone to think that we're going to have 300 or 400 loans out there to small businesses that we have to try to manage and keep up with and chase down. Another concern was the amount of money for the administrative operational expenses. When this was introduced, those funds were mostly going to be like a grant. But now, in this agreement, those funds are going to be repaid by Axion. In other words, if they get X number of dollars this year that goes towards the operational expenses, then beginning in 2011, they will begin to pay those funds back. So basically what's happening is all of the parish money that is going to be used through Axion is going to be paid back, and is being paid back and guaranteed. Another aspect of the agreement I want to bring your attention to is that the parish really maintains control of this on an annual basis. If you look under the use of the funds, you'll see that there's a provision that the parish may withhold any and all payments contemplated for 2011 and 2012 for any reason deemed appropriate in its sole judgment. Okay? What that means is, each year, before another appropriation comes up, this parish has the absolute right to take a look at it and to make a determination if it wants to go any further. Thirdly, I think there may be some misunderstanding here about how the money is going to be distributed. We're not going to get into a scenario where $500,000 at one time is going to be given to Axion. Basically, what's happening is the appropriation this year would be $200,000. And then as we go into the next year, there are provisions here that if those funds for the loans have not been expended, then that carryover could go towards the appropriation for the upcoming year. So you may never get to a point where you actually have put out $500,000. But basically what's happening is you're keeping some money flowing to Axion for the loans. Now, the employees themselves, there was a question about the employees for Axion. This agreement requires them to be bonded to the tune of $500,000. I'm saying to you that I believe, given the history of this company and safeguards that we are making, that we are protecting the parish's funds. I would not have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. The money that's going to be used in this program will always be the parish money. I would not have that any other way. Now, this is just some tough times that we're in, and let's just be truthful about that. I know there are a lot of needs from a lot of people for things they're trying to do out there. I advocate that we should always go out and try to bring new business and industry into our parish, but at the same time, I don't think we ought to overlook the businesses that are here. These are tough economic times for small businesses. There are a lot of alternatives they once had that's not available to them, especially when you start talking about governmental help. And let's speak, in some real terms. And I can say this to you, truthfully. If I didn't think the parish had the money to invest in our people in this manner, this legislation would not be before you. We have millions and millions of dollars, and that doesn't mean we have to spend it, don't get me wrong. We have millions and millions of dollars that's available. We put out nearly $5 million with nonprofits. We are talking about $500,000 less to help our small businesses. Most of the stimulus money that came in went to fix roads, and it should. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm saying now, if we're going to invest in roads, we're going to invest in buildings and bridges, then we ought to also be on record as investing in our small businesses, investing in our citizens and our people. Axion gives us that opportunity to do it. I do not think that the city of Shreveport, the city of Baton Rouge, or the city of New Orleans, or the city of Alexandria would buy into this program if this was some fly-by-night risky venture, which I would not be a part of, and certainly would not ask my colleagues to be a part of. This is a legitimate program. it could help some people. And the people I'm talking about helping are folks who live next door to us, go to our churches, parents of children that goes to our schools. These funds are going to be used for Caddo citizens. They're going to be right here in Caddo Parish. And I know there are other needs out there, don't get me wrong. I would only hope that we will agree that helping our small businesses is among the priorities that we should have. So I'm asking for the support of my colleagues on this. I believe that the proposition is getting an opportunity to work. We will see some successes from it. I believe that we cannot just believe that one day businesses are just going to pop up and prosper here with no help at all. This could be a part of a plan to help businesses succeed in our parish, and that's what this is all about. So I'm asking for your support. I'm saying that the ordinance that's before you is just for the appropriation. If you have other issues, I tried to collect those that you do have. If you have other issues that need to be addressed, I believe they can be addressed in a cooperative endeavor agreement. It does not have to be executed till we are all satisfied that we have something that protects the parish and helps our citizens. So I'm asking for your support in this regard. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Anyone else like to speak? Ms. Lynch?
I just wanted to, I'm going to support the Commissioner Jenkins' motion, but I just wanted to also say that since he's been here, we've all kind of sectioned off in different public policy areas. I know David, when he came, was dealing with animal services and helping us get the dog ordinances up to speed, and of course Jim has been working, I guess going on his second year with the oil and gas ordinance, and Commissioner Epperson with the rural property standards, Commissioner Pearson with the criminal justice task force, and so on and so forth. But this area of economic development, economic inclusion, and dealing with small businesses has really been Commissioner Jenkins' policy area of expertise, and I too, along with the folks here that are here today to support this program, commend him for the job that he has done with working with each commissioner and addressing their concerns, bending way over backwards to address everyone's concern. And while there still may be some reservations, as it is when you go to do something for the first time, I think it's only normal to have some reservations and some concerns. But I also think it's important that Caddo Parish continue to be on the cutting edge in this state with making this not only a viable state, but making this a viable region. We often brag about how excellent our Northwest Louisiana delegation is, the relationships that we forge with intergovernmentally with the school board and also with the city, how well this particular body and the long way that it has come in the 25 years. And I just see this as another opportunity for Caddo Parish to step to the forefront and to provide that economic stimulus, if you will, for this region. I don't know what they're doing in every other parish that surrounds us, but certainly I think we can look at what we've done, certainly in the 6 years that I've been here, to say that we've not been afraid to step forward and step out, and I would hope that today that we would be able to get this passed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Anyone else? Mr. Smith? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jenkins, you and I've had several conversations on this, and I'm sure others have, commissioners have with you. But first, we said we were going to use some funds to set the office up, administration, and so forth. Now that's changed, I guess. Is that correct? Operating funds, I guess I would call them.
That's correct. In other words, all of the money now is money that will be repaid. We're not actually, when we initially did it, there was money that was being considered more of a grant. There was no expectation for it to be repaid. But now, all of the money will be repaid, including any money they use for administrative purposes.
Okay. Now, if I read this correctly, Axion is actually guaranteeing this loan. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. I'm sure they have money, and what are their assets in order for them to guarantee this loan?
Would it be okay for Mr.
Certainly.
Okay.
Commissioner, I believe the question is, what assets do we have?
Yes, sir.
We have an audited financial statement you can view on our website at any point in time, that the assets of the corporation we have are loans that we have in our portfolio. We have $26 million of loans in Axion's portfolio. We are self-funded by 60% right now. That is, the company is self-funded its loans. 60% of the loans are self-funded loans. So we have equity in those loans. We have offices. We have other equipment. We have cash. We have just merged two loan portfolios with the city of San Antonio, Texas. They had a 504 loan program, an SBA 504 loan program. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. $60 million we just took in. They merged with us. They merged another $20 million portfolio with Axion, Texas, that they had been administrating for 30 years. Again, the proven track record of we have always and continue to repay debt. We have the cash available to do that. When Commissioner Jenkins came to me and voiced his concern about the grant part of this monies and some of the commissioners' problem with it, I told him that we could then turn around, because I believe that not only this parish, this area, but the entire state, and I've been a commercial loan officer in this state since 1986, that this state is fertile ground for a micro-lender to come in this state and be able to help small business people, not just in this community, but in the entire state. As Commissioner Lynch just pointed out, the city of Baton Rouge, I met with the Mayor Holden's chief administrative officer. He, for the city of Baton Rouge, has guaranteed that we will have $1 million to help out small business people within the city of Baton Rouge within 60 days. With those kind of entities, and this is throughout the state, assisting us to help small business people within the community, I felt it was very important that this piece of legislation pass, not for Axion to do business in this parish, but to help this parish and the business people in this parish with the void that's out there now within the resources that small business people can access as far as capital is concerned. Some of the largest banks within your parish, I've talked to executive management of those banks, and they tell me the same thing over and over again. Okay, thank you. Mr. Lynn.
The ordinance in the book has stayed the same, and of course the paperwork that we have as far as the collaborative endeavor between the parish and the city has changed in the last 36 hours. I tried to reach our parish attorney, who's out of town as well as Donna, and have not been able to do so. And then I have asked that this be tabled for another time, for another vote for me to study the new contract even more so. And if it could be tabled, then I could understand it and study it more so, and pour through all of this, and then get advice from other people as to which way to go. Until I had that amount of time to study this more, I can't support it. That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I respond to that, Mr. President?
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, did I cut you off prematurely?
Yes, sir.
You want to continue? We're okay. I apologize.
One more thought to Sam, because he and I have had many conversations on this. At first, we were going to have operating money, which wouldn't come back to us. Now it's coming back to us, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, we understand that Action's going to guarantee the loans, both operating and however monies they invest out there.
That is correct.
So the only cost to the parish at this point would be loss of interest on those dollars, if I understand it correctly.
That's correct.
With we getting it back.
That's correct.
So this money's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. So we're going to use the taxpayers' money to fund a worthy cause, supposedly, which I'm sure it is. But the taxpayer's not going to get any return on his investment other than increased businesses coming here and helping people who need help. Which is a worthy cause.
Yes, sir. And you're correct in your observation there, but we're saying, all right, $200,000 could sit there in the account, and it could draw some interest, I understand that. I'm saying that if that $200,000 is going to come back, then that interest is a reinvestment into our taxpayers. That interest that would have come off of it is a reinvestment into our taxpayers. In other words, these funds are not funds for Axion. These funds are funds to invest in our community and invest in our small business. The other aspect of this, I think, needs to be considered is each year the parish can take a look at this. In 2011, you can take a look at this and can make a decision if you want to go further with it or not, or what, if anything, needs to be appropriated. So you always got the management end of it. But the interest that could possibly come off it, either the $200,000 could sit there in the account and draw interest, and our citizens don't get any direct benefit from it, or we could put it out there and try to give them some direct benefit, and that'll be, our contribution to the cause of this, because we're not, trying to take on the management of it. We're putting it in the hands of some people who are skilled to do it. So I see that as a reinvestment in our people, not as a loss. The cooperative endeavor agreement, Mr. Lane, as I stated, that can be looked into, adjusted, modified at any point in time. It doesn't have to, the cooperative endeavor agreement doesn't have to be passed today. The ordinance says that whatever relationship that's going to exist between the parish and Axion is going to be subject to a cooperative endeavor agreement. If any of us want to look at the agreement further and have some more input on what the agreement is going to provide, time is there to do that. So you're not being robbed of any time to look at that and make whatever suggestions or input that you want. I've said I welcome that. And to the extent that I received information, we tried to make sure that that was included. And this has been approved by the city attorney. This document here has been approved by him. But it's not for him. He doesn't have a vote up here. But as far as the legal efficacy of it, that has been approved.
Mr. Smith, I'm like Mr. Lynn. Today I could not okay this, but I see it differently than when we started talking. I see it differently today, and I see it has some merit. So I have a better feeling about it than I did.
There's a point of information to correct some questions that some people may be asking. The cooperative endeavor agreement, as it's written, it is agreed to by the administration and entered into. Funds have to be appropriated for the first year. At any time, if anyone has objection, doesn't like the way it's going, the cooperative endeavor agreement can be dissolved. All it has to be done is declared not in the best interest of the parish, and the contract's null and void, and they don't have any recourse. Also, as well, each year, this body will have to appropriate the additional funds. So, as long as everybody's clear on how that process works, Mr. Jenkins is correct. We can stop this at any time we feel like it's going bad. Mr. Cox.
First off, I want to say, Commissioner Jenkins, every question I asked him a couple of weeks ago when this first came up, he came back and And I asked him about the collateral, I asked him about the operating funds, and I also told him in recent days about phone calls that I've gotten from some employees and some other businesses that, you know, are looking at this and how we vote on this. But as far as what he's done, he has actually brought us a program here that's for those groups of people that are looking for something. And it's a nice program to a point where I think it can still thrive here with this body. But we have to make sure that what we're doing here is correct the first time, because I don't want to go back and say, ooh, we did it wrong, we did it for the wrong reason, or it just didn't work out at that time. And I've made this plain to Mr. Jenkins, and I have had quite a few conversations on this. So the Endeavor agreement can be worked on at a later time, as we, or the money itself can be worked on or stopped at any time if we don't feel comfortable with it. So I would just end it with this that says that our employees are looking at this, and I've had quite a few phone calls from employees, and they're looking at how we deal with this and how we deal with them on a year-to-year basis. So take it in heed that, you know, this body's not only deciding money for a small business, this body's deciding money on our employees and how we treat them every year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Mr. Candidate.
We're on first round, please.
Commissioner Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this, and I don't want to be redundant, I think that Commissioner Jenkins has done a wonderful job in answering and responding to all of the issues. I think, you know, if you're not going to vote for it, you're just at a point that you're just kind of, you know, just not going to do it. I mean, but the point is that this is something for those citizens, those same citizens that pay taxes, you know, perhaps same workers and the same people who work for us that may have a lawn service on the side. They may need some small business loans. I mean, so I don't think that there's anything here that's so difficult that once we appropriate the funds, which is what we're doing today, that all of the contractual agreements can be worked on, and as our president said, at any point that we are uncomfortable can be stopped. So I really don't see what, looking at it another 10 days, 20 days, another 2 months, you know, going to make a difference unless, you know, you think something is just going to change and you're not going to resubmit it. But I just think that it's time for us to step up. I mean, we got people that we're responsible to as well, taxpayers that are business people that need loans. I mean, those are the people we're addressing. So I just think we ought to just go in and support this, and certainly we'll watch it closely because it is taxpayers' money. And if something happens that makes us uncomfortable to the extent that we need to get out of the agreement, then let's get out of it. But I don't think we ought to beat it to death or whip it to death, like trying to find reasons why we really don't want to support it. I think we ought to go and support this and do something for the people that we serve. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Pearson. Anyone else first round? And I'm going to go first round. We've come a long way on this. I was opposed to this when it was first proposed on its early onset because it was basically a grant, giving away public funds, and I was not satisfied that it met all the criteria under state law that we should do so. I thought it was an appropriate use as a grant. Basically, all we're doing is we're providing loaning seed capital so that they can continue their business. I appreciate the sentiments that I've heard from some of the parish employees. They don't have the burden of worrying about 250 other thousand people parish-wide as we do. And just for the record, I think they've been well taken care of the last few years, despite the economy and what's happening everywhere else. And if anyone should be happy to talk to any of them about it any time and tell them how I feel. This has moved to the point, and I will commend Mr. Jenkins for working hard on this to where I can accept this. I feel the money is secured, the need is there. Basically, the little bit of interest we may lose on the money hopefully will come back to us in the forms of sales taxes and property taxes on these businesses, and it should offset. And we're in a position to do it. We're not going to get any help from the state. We're not going to get any help from the federal government. They borrow, beg, and print money. We're not having to do that. We're very fortunate. Anyway, that said and done, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable that it's gone full circle from a pure grant to a loan, and I'm comfortable that, as Commissioner Pearson said, to reaffirm that at any time, we can bail on this thing, and as you all know, there's very little anybody can do about it. Thank you, Commissioner Epps.
Call for the question on the motion.
Second. Question's been called for and seconded. Let's vote to call for the question on the motion. All right, that passes. Now we will vote on the question. On the motion, yeah. Question's been called for. We vote on the motion. You ready?
Sir.
That passes. Next order of business, please. It's ordinance 5002 to rescind sales adjudicated property. Motion. Moved by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Epperson. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, please vote. That passes. Next item, please.
Yes, sir. Ordinances for introduction. Ordinance 5003, amend your riverboat fund budget in the amount of $25,000 for Red River Rebel. Ordinance 5004, authorizes the administrator to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Odessa concerning recreational services. Ordinance 5005 proposes an amendment to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter for presentation to the electorate. Ordinance 5006 redeems surplus property, that's heavy equipment and air filters, and authorizes their sale. Ordinance 5007 leases a portion of land in Earl Williamson Park for placement of an ice machine to serve park patrons. Ordinance 5008 deems certain property surplus and authorizes the sale of that property. Ordinance 5009 declares certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize their sale.
All right, thank you, Mr. Spears. We do not have the no problem. Resolutions, please.
Resolution 37 authorizes Waterworks District Number 7 to incur debt on a taxable promissory note not to exceed $86,000.
Moved by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Dominic. Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Epperson?
Mr. Smith, we have no responsibilities, right?
No, sir.
We're just supporting their efforts.
Waterworks has the money to pay it.
Any other discussion on the motion? Please vote. Passes. Next item, please.
Resolution 38 establishes the Caddo Parish Criminal Justice Coordinating Council.
Moved by the Chair. Thank you by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion on this motion? Please vote. Next item, please. That passes.
Resolution 39 is first preparation of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Public Housing Authority Plan.
Moved by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion?
We have this in our possession, or what are we doing? What are we doing?
Ms. Mills, can tell you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is an annual plan that we are required by HUD to pass for our Section 8 housing program. And the agency that administers our program, the Louisiana Housing Development Corporation, prepares that plan, has it on file in our office, and we publish notices in the newspapers about the public hearing, which gives the public an opportunity to comment on the plan. And this is authorizing us to proceed with preparation of the plan, and the public hearing will be held on September the 21st after adoption of this resolution. We advertise that in the paper.
And in the plan, does it have anything concerning our Section 8?
It is our Section 8 housing program. We do have representatives here today from the Louisiana Housing Development Corporation if you have questions about the specific plan itself. They do prepare that on our behalf.
Yeah, I'd like to know what they put in there. What are they saying?
Shirley Neal with the Louisiana Housing Development Corporation.
This is routine stuff.
Good afternoon. I'm Shirley Neal, and I work with Louisiana Housing. I'm the program coordinator. And this is just to ask for us to prepare the plan, and what the plan is, it is a form that HUD makes up, and we have to put into this plan what our mission and goals, and that's also what the caring is about for anyone in the public that would like to come forth with some ideas that would make this a better program to manage so that they can have decent, safe housing.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the motion? Let's vote, please. That passes. Next item.
Yes, sir, where were we? Resolution 40, regard, roof repairs and air conditioning equipment that
Chair moves that we remove this from the agenda. Second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion on the motion? Let's vote to remove, please. All right, that's gone. Old business, please.
confirm appointment of members of the Black Valley Watershed Commission.
I move that we can reappoint Mr. Hale, Mr. Morrow, Mr. Jennings, and Mr. Barr. Mr. Wolf has resigned, so the other ones will be appointed at this time.
Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Dominic, seconded by Mr. Cox, that we appoint Mr. Hale, Morrow, Jennings, and Barr to the Black Bayou Watershed Commission. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, please vote. That passes. Thank you. New business?
Yes, sir, confirmation commissioners to attend Police Year Association Blacktop Economic Empowerment Summit here.
So moved by Commissioner Jenkins, seconded by Commissioner McCullough. Any discussion on the motion? Please vote. Passes. Next item, please.
Confirmation appointment of Ms. Injiri Camera as Caddo Parish's representative board in the service district.
Moved by Commissioner Lynch, seconded by Commissioner Epperson. Is there any discussion on the motion? You can please vote. Appointment's confirmed. Next item, please.
Appoint Ms. Maxie Smith to the Caddo Parish Lakeview Water District, Lakeview Water District.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion on this appointment? If not, please vote. I need to change. I didn't mean to vote no. Hit the wrong button. Change me to yes.
Sir?
And Commissioner Smith, you hit the wrong button.
Correct.
So we're all yes. It's unanimous. Okay. Big a hurry. Next item.
Sir, appoint Mr. Joel Fusso to the Sewer District 2 Board.
Seconded by Commissioner McCullough, seconded by Commissioner Dominic. Any discussion on the motion? If not, please vote. We're adjourned. Mike, Jerry.